Dancing. Not exactly a word my friends and family associate with me, but it is something I've always wanted to do. Sadly, due to a few experiences, I've shied away from it all, keeping my flailings within the comfort of my own bathroom. But there's three things that always get me thinking about it: boy bands, anime songs, and this game. So it's time to bust a groove. Bust a Groove, or Bust a Move in Japan, was released in 1998 by a small company called Enix. Kinda familiar. For the US, it was published by 989 Studios, known for the now classic Siphon Filter and Twisted Metal. Bust a Groove and its eventual sequels are celebrations of dance culture. From b-boy to hip-hop to disco, even Vogue. You got a wide range of styles done by a cast of both gnarly, rad, cowabunga, and other 90s adjectives of characters. Strangely enough, I do not remember owning this. However, I do remember borrowing this from my cousins after showing it to me. I think that's how it went. Or was it them just letting me play throughout the summer? Anyway, in any case, I played it. Was a lot of fun. It became a core memory, or whatever it's called nowadays. But what's it all about? An easy way to describe it is a rhythm fighting game hybrid, leaning more towards the rhythm part. You press the buttons you see on the screen to the beat of the song. Simple enough. And as long as you press either the X or circle button right before the fourth beat in time, you're good. You can also distract the opponent by instead pressing triangle or dodge incoming attacks using square. You'll know it when they start saying something. To actually win, you'll need to rack up points by doing combos. The harder combos are always the lower path of the two that you see here. The higher the meter, the more complex and better scoring the combos are. Oh, by the way, you have to do this while dodging and or attacking. And there's no score number, but you'll know who's winning by the cameraman's focus. More on you? Awesome. Keep it up. More on them? Then you better start getting good or hit them to lower their points. Now, all of this is easy to say, but back then, I was terrible. Like, seriously. I could barely eke out a win on the first stage. That's probably a big reason why I'm doing an episode on this. I simply don't remember ever finishing it. Rhythm does not seem to be part of my DNA, but I still kept trying, and just like I kind of love dancing, I kind of tried to keep playing this, but I don't know, it's just pretty tough. So yeah, young mouse, bad at this game. Older large mouse, maybe passable? But besides the dancing and the music, which we'll get to later, another reason for me revisiting is the cast. Two of them in particular. Bust a Groove features a truly 90s array of personalities. We got the Chemical Brother, Grey Aliens, a fast food junkie, an actual criminal, John Travolta, multiple flavors of hip-hop, a bit of striptease, and an adult baby, among others, with all the colors you think a 90s design would have. Each character throws it down with their own dance style, and the better you do, the more awesome the dance becomes. And if you do really well, you'll activate what's called Fever Time at the end of the round. There's no gameplay value to it, but it looks cool as heck. Now, among the cast, there are two that were stuck in my brain for decades. The first is Hiro, the self-proclaimed natural playboy. I have always been a fan of, charming rogues, those playboy types, smooth talkers, suave talkers, who really know how to sway someone's heart. Of course, now, being older, being called a playboy isn't really like a badge of honor, but back then, with my, typical masculinity boy brain, I saw it as the peak, of course. And his song, Natural Playboy, sung by Caleb Hayes, was a really cool anthem to the character. All eyes on him. And just like the song itself, he's saying he's looking like a star when he's smoking his cigar, because we all want to be just like him. Now, the other one. I shouldn't be too embarrassed for this because I'm already in my 30s, but of course, like any other kid, I have my set of crushes, and video games are not exempt, and this game is not exempt, and that character is Shorty. I don't know why, man. She just had that cool candy pop vibe that I kind of dug, striped long sleeves with jumper, backwards cap, and then with super fun and energetic hip hop. And by the way, speaking of which, the song itself, like Shorty and the Easy Mouse for the Western release, it's, I think, Azor on a Knife, it's called in Japan, which is a different song. We'll get to that as well. Is a real bop. Hell, it even has mouse in the name. And her stage, which is a lot of like colorful childhood wonder with candies and toys and amusement park stuff. But yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, she's so cool. And, the typical, most likely pre-teen crushes that a boy is embarrassing to admit, especially since this is a video game character. And I'm rambling. I'm also want to talk about, she has a mouse named Colombo who dances with you if you do really well. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about something else, which we want to talk about the more important part of this game, the music. So I'm talking about Hero and Shorty's tracks, but honestly, the entire soundtrack is such a banger. Even if you don't read anything about the character, just looking at their vibe and listening to their music tells a lot about them. So you got, your hardcore breakdance and even some harder industrial, some hip-hop, some sultry, seductive music, some tropical jams, some robo-vogue, and other catchy, unique tracks. But you know what? Instead of me just rambling again and talking about it, I'll just let you have a taste of these songs. So what you saw just there is also part of the game's dance view mode, which is only accessible after beating the single player mode. So now is probably the perfect time to talk about single player mode. So it's time for me to bust my groove. Stop. Anyway. So single player, it consists of 12 stages. And no matter who you pick, you'll always fight Capoeira, the first unlockable character. We'll get to that at stage 6, and Robo Z, the other unlockable at the last stage. Other than that, there's really not much to say. You just go duel after dance duel. But the main challenge is actually the varying speed of the songs. So you have some like Heat that go really hard and really fast, while others like Strike have that kind of slowness that keeps catching me off guard, and I always tend to like press earlier than I should. But yeah, other than that, it is your classic arcade single player mode. Luckily, there is an infinite number of retries, and In the past, I really needed every single one. And even then, I couldn't finish it. I don't even remember getting to Robo Z at all. Or maybe like 2 times and then I get wrecked. Or I got called to something and then I had to stop playing and then I, of course, can't save in the middle of it. Anyway, single player, straightforward. And if you're having a hard time, you can hit up practice mode, which I'm sure I never did before, and I still haven't done. Oh, by the way, when it comes to like stages, the final stage where you go up against Robo Z is probably the most epic one. Because it's still a dance-off, but it's a dance-off against this like 100-foot robot while you're on top of the building. So the cars just keep ramming themselves to Robo Z's feet as he's like voguing around and you're just dancing. Oh no, people are dying. Let me just like get my jiggy with it. Oh god. Well, anyway, when you beat the game, you get, of course, another good old ending cutscene. It is definitely a PlayStation arcade ending of all time. And not gonna lie, this is probably the first time I've ever seen one because I've never finished this. Although I did expect something more than, 10 seconds, but yeah, that's it. And then you get a credits. And, well, I've seen one, so I wanted to check out the others. Of course, I can pull them up on YouTube, but I'm a bit silly. So I wanted to beat the game with every single character. Oh, by the way, shoutouts to Strike, who just literally starts blasting and is ending like, oh, okay, I want this dance off. Like, oh, the cops. All right, get them. Now, this is easier said than done. Remember, I had to do this for 12 stages and each song is a full song. And it's almost like 40 minutes to an hour, depending if you do retries per run. So it's gonna take me forever. That is why I use the forbidden PlayStation Jutsu, Game Shark. And then I found out I couldn't unlock the movies. However, I could skip all the way to the final battle, which saves a whole lot of time. Although I have to listen to Robo Z's song again and again and again and again and again. But it's fine, because Robo Z's song is pretty sick. But yeah, because of that, I was able to get the character endings, which includes the secret ones. So, finishing a run in normal mode unlocks Capoeira, the twin aliens, and then finishing it again unlocks Robo Z, the giant robot. Sadly though, Robo Z shrinks to human size when you use it, so it's kinda unfair. I wanted to see how weird it is when you fight in like Ham stage or something, and there's just like a foot beside the fast food chain, but yeah. Then, there are 2 other secret characters. You have Columbo, the mouse, as I mentioned, that hangs inside Shorty's jumper. And then there's Burger Dog, the mascot of the fast food joint Ham works on. You get by beating the game with Ham. The 2 animals take their moves and attacks from their owners, but they do not get any special endings. They just jump straight to the credits. So, that's pretty much everything about Buster Groove, and I could just wrap this up. However, I think we need to talk about the version differences porting the game to English because it was an interesting dive. So what I knew before about porting is just mostly translating the game text, maybe change the title a bit. Of course, there's more nuances to it. I'm being very, very simplistic about this, but what I didn't know was from the original, which is Bust a Move, it had a bunch of changes and some of them are kinda wild. First of all, Hiro didn't have his cigarette, because back then smoking was cool, but it's bad. And then Strike replaced his flask with a soda can, because drinking is cool as well, but also still bad. And then some backstories change if you cared, like Shorty being the daughter of a DJ instead of a diplomat. And then there's Ham. Oh boy, we gotta talk about Ham. Or I can just show you these 2 pictures. The one on the left is the original Japanese release version of Ham, and the other one is the ported one. See any difference? So yeah, the original Ham design was a very... Ooh, this thing is not gonna fly here even in the 90s kind of vibe. But, you know, it just is, and that is just how ham was envisioned by people from a different place and culture and understanding and nuances. But yeah, and that is just the character models. The music, a core of the game besides the dancing, changed a bit as well. Some songs that are sung in Japanese were translated and reinterpreted and then sung in English. And then some songs were edited strangely like strikes. Like, listen to this. This is the original Japanese version. And then they just took out the line, so it's now just empty. But yeah, these are just some of the changes, but I think it's enough to paint a picture of how things were back then in the realm of translating things from one culture to the next. To wrap this up, I just like to say that fortunately, I have reached a part of my life where I couldn't really give a mouse's butt what other people think, especially with my dancing. So now I dance my silly dance with my wife at home or, you know, at a mall or at a park at her expense. And, you know, maybe try to learn like an anime meme dance or whatever and just, you know, move my body more. Of course, limited now by my age and mobility issues. But to end this episode, I'd just like to say that looking back does feel cringy at times. Maybe most of the time for us. However, it is still you. And I think you gotta have a little cringe in your life. That's just the spice that you need to make things a little bit more interesting. I would say that if you're around my age, you should really just start embracing the cringe because really, in the end, who freaking cares? So yeah, be cringe, be kind, be happy. Thanks for watching. This is A Large Mouse.